game phase.
I'm invisible. Shall we fix that? Shall we fix me being invisible by going to the video capture device and deactivate, activate, and here I am. Let me turn the light on so you can see me, and there we go. There we go. Right, this is the second attempt because last night didn't work very well, so let's see what's going on. Let me say hi to people in the chat. We have a Thomas here early. We have a Cow here early. We have a Bob Loblaw here early. Do we have anybody else? We have me. We have me. We have a Lo-Fi Kills. And scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. Considering I haven't promoted this anywhere, we have a Carlo. So, if anybody wants to go and spam this everywhere because I completely forgot and apparently it's streaming time, go ahead, you know, Twitter, Reddit, any way you want. Just post the links and hopefully people will arrive. And hopefully the stream will remain active today because I don't know what was going on last night. Although I was a little worried because as soon as I hit start streaming tonight, my internet disconnected. Which suggests when I was moving the room around the other day, I don't know, maybe some of the USB ports don't work as well for the camera or the internet, or who knows, because PCs are kind of voodoo magic. The t-shirt is indeed a Day of the Tentacle, an evil tentacle t-shirt, Bob. There you go. I have two of these because the cats put a hole in one of them. And, you know, I can't be having that, so I bought a replacement. Anyway, where are we starting? Well, if you remember, on my elevator stream the other week, I tried to look at Time Limit by Chuo, C-H-U-O, and it ran a little bit too fast. There are two Chuo games in MAME, Time Limit, and this one. This one's called Progress. I don't know why it's called Progress, but it's a game about a tank. It's a bit ZVSE, but it's got a tank. And it runs on the same driver as Time Limit. Now, with Time Limit, there was some original footage turned up that showed that it really was running too fast in MAME. And then some original footage showed up of Progress, which also showed that it was running too fast in MAME. I said that halving the NMI limit to every other frame fixed the speed, and have implemented that as... I don't know if it's a kludge. I mean, we don't have much evidence either way, but anyway, he implemented it so that the NMI generates every other frame instead of every frame, which slows down this game and slows down Time Limit. I thought I'd start with this game because this game is a little bit different. I don't know if I played it before, but who doesn't like a good tank game? So yeah, let's turn the volume up. This is another one with a big DC offset, so I don't actually know how loud it's going to be. Let's change my view to vertical. Let's full screen it. It's Progress. Or maybe Progress. I don't know, it's one word. I'm assuming it's like the advancing army, you know. They're progressing on their territory, something like that. But it's called Progress. It's one of those where turning takes a little bit of time. You've got your two shots, you've got a ground attack, you've got your general forward fire. So against tanks, your general forward fire is okay. Your missile will go where the target is. So again, it's a bit like Xelius. But you do get this dinging sound after the music is finished, which I'm guessing is correct, but I really don't know. But yeah, this ran at about twice the speed before, and as a result, it was kind of difficult. Now you're moving at a more acceptable tank rate, and I think it's more playable as a result. But again, these are rare games, so there's not much reference material for them. So I'm just going to get as far as I can. I'm going to make as much progress as I can. Yeah, you turn in increments. It's not a rotary joystick. So if you want diagonal fire, you have to rotate slightly and then you have to move both things. Let's blow up the truck. I don't know what the truck's carrying. These things also fire, so you can blow those up. Blow those up. We can keep moving. We can keep making progress. Oh, and yeah, those vanish as well, so it's quite hard to hit them. So let's cross this bridge. Too old school for you lo-fi kills. That is fair enough. Not everything we're going to do today is going to be lo-fi, but I mean old school. Not lo-fi. I'm getting confused. But yeah, this is not a well-known old game, but it is an old game, and you know, MAME is kind of about old games. Oh, you'll fire at me. And yeah, these spawning enemies. Progress. This is Progress, no Johto. One of the two games made by Chuo, and if we're honest, the better of the games. But that's probably not saying much. If I was going for a tank game, personally, I'd go for Tank Up. That just spawned where I was. That is bad game design. I would go for TNK3, aka Tank by SNK, which I really like. It's sort of Atari-like, but with being in a tank as a default as opposed to walking around in it. That was 2 cheap deaths very quickly. Let's try again. So yeah, a reduction in speed does not stop the cheap deaths. The cheap deaths occur whatever. But as we will see shortly, time limit is no exception to cheap deaths. Which is probably why Chuo are not a household name in game development. As far as I know, they produced these 2 arcade games, and that was it. But of course, they could be an alias for some other developers who did other things, but I'm aware of those other things that they did. Yes, game design is your passion. Is this the final progress cow? Also, these explosions when you blow things up don't make much sense, because why is there now a tornado on the back of the truck? Yeah, these turrets that just spawn out of nowhere are really annoying. I can't look. Yes, I mean, yeah, Progress is one of those games that would be very difficult to search for information on. You know, because again, Progress is a common limit, time limit. Progress is a common word, time limit is a common word. It's a bit like, you know, searching for Irem's Green Beret, which we were very lucky to discover a proper version of. At least with Time Limit and Progress, there are no other arcade games called Time Limit or Progress. Also, you know, if Final Lap wasn't so popular, searching for Final Lap might be difficult, but apparently Final Lap was quite a popular game. You know, #1 in the Japanese arcade income charts for a while, and yeah, I don't know. And it was Namco's first link-up arcade races, so maybe it's got that going for it. But I don't know how this game progresses because I've never been very good at it. So yeah, it's uh-oh. Now I have a tornado on my back, which means I'm damaged. I'm a damaged little tank. I think they don't fire diagonally, which can... Oh, those ones do then. Oh, they do. If you're like, okay, they fire diagonally. Dear me. Cyber sled. Well, cyber cycles, but cyber sled's pretty good, isn't it? I'm back at the start. So this is one of those games where you're probably not going to see much of it when I'm playing it. I thought I'd highlight it because I'd always like a little tank shooter, and the way that the tank moves does make it a bit more challenging. Because say you can't turn straight up or down; it does rotate. It's not tank controls, but yeah. I may look at a better tank game next. Yeah, I mean, say, if you kind of rotate, so I'm pressing left and right now, only left and right, and I'm moving in a circle. Though you press up, it does move towards the upward direction. The way that the controls actually works pretty well. I'm not going to complain about that. The controls are well designed for a game that's meant to be slightly challenging to control. This reappears. Yeah, really. So you can wait a little while and blow them up that way. And we get to the helicopters a bit again, and get bombed on. So the helicopter, you avoid the bombs. I think if you get the missile right, there we go. We've blown up the helicopter. Now we're going through this trench section. Again, it's one of those games where if you take your time and don't rush it, you'll probably do better. Work out what's coming. I mean, Dark Souls is the same. Although I'm not comparing this to Dark Souls, I'm just saying some games, if you rush along, you will do worse than if you just take your time and work out what's going to kill you and get rid of that. You think it's time to progress, do you, Colin? Well, I'll give it another credit maybe, or depending on how well this credit goes, and then I may move on to some sort of assault. Well, I was killed by another spawning turret, which again is kind of bad game design. So shall we move on to another game? I'm sure I've got more letters, but there we go. So yeah, Progress by Chuo. It doesn't run quite as fast as it did before. The frame rate has been halved, but it's still smooth. It's more playable now. It's still got some bad game design issues. I say, no game should ever spawn things where you are. And this game does that all the time. As you've seen, I was just there trying to plan my route and suddenly turret exactly where I'm standing out of nowhere. I have beaten Dark Souls no Johto and Dark Souls. I bought Demon Souls when it came out. I imported Demon Souls from Japan. I mean, I don't know if I can see where my copy is. Somewhere on these shelves behind me is my Japanese copy of Demon Souls that I got when it wasn't going to get released over here. I don't know where it is. I'm not going to look for it. But yeah, I have beaten the games. Unfortunately, I did it on a PS3 without my account, so my trophies aren't there. So people go, "You didn't beat it," but I did. And in Demon Souls, that boss near the end that steals your levels was kind of evil. I'm just going to put that there. That was evil. That was the most soul-crushing thing in a game I've ever played. It's like you worked so hard for those levels and it just destroyed you. But anyway, they're good games, no Johto. They're good games, and to me, they're some of the best games that were released in the last 10 years. The Dark Souls, Demon Souls games are actually the games that got me back into gaming after things like Mass Effect just put me off completely. They're not even that challenging that you can just grind them for the most part. Anyway, that was Progress. And since we played Progress, I think it's only fair to play a slightly better tank game. And that game is Assault Plus, 1998 from Namco, on Namco System 2 hardware. And this makes pretty good use of the rotation hardware, I have to say. That game loops infinitely, like Alcon. But if anybody can actually get to the loop point, I applaud them, because I was struggling. So Assault Plus, Namco's game. It's kind of one of those semi-sequels that I don't know what level of distribution had. It's also the coding for the plus features is kind of rough around the edges, like it was hacked on top of the original game. So if I press coin, and then I get this screen, Easy Assault or Super Assault. Now I'm going to select Super Assault because it's the hard mode, but I'm going to turn the volume down because that's quite loud. But even that screen depends greatly on the CPU sync. If the CPUs aren't synced properly, it will skip straight past that screen without doing anything. What are my controls? There we go. So this literally has tank controls, and it's probably better suited to pad if a bit configured. Which I probably haven't. Okay. Hold on a minute while I configure the controls. Right stick up. Right stick down. Right stick left. Right stick right. Left stick. No, that's wrong. Unfortunately, mapping controls in MAME is still not quite as easy as it should be, and different things appear as analog and digital, but we will work around that issue. Oops. And a fire button. That should do us. Hey Mitchell, welcome to the chat. So yeah, this one, you know, both buttons left, both directions left, you roll, otherwise, you know, you're playing with tank controls and trying not to die. But yes, this is a good tank game with lots of enemies and very good use of Namco's zooming hardware. I mean, if you go on these bases, you get boost in the air where you can fire at everything on the ground, although, you know, I do know how to play this game, honestly. I'm just a little bit out of practice. Also, I did select the hard mode, so Mr. Outer Heaven, aka Fungi66. You mean in the arcades or in MAME? Right, let's not continue. Let's actually put it on the easy mode because I probably made a mistake selecting Assault Plus. The basic mode is called Easy Assault. Oh yeah, if you hold back both buttons back and press fire, you do the special attack, which is kind of useful if you don't waste it like I just did there. But yeah, there are a lot of good games with rotation. Namco had a few. Konami had some too. I mean, Gaelco is a great example of a Konami game with good rotation. So this is one of Namco's best to actually use the rotation hardware well, if you know what you're doing. So you can take loads out that way. Yeah, this is basically, if you've played Robotron, you'll know the dual joystick type controls. This isn't direction to fire and direction to move, this is tank control, so you basically control the left and right wheels, which control your direction. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, it's not bad. It always kind of reminds me of Gauntlet, but with tanks, I don't know why. I think it's just the maze-like structure of some of the levels. You know, you've got your rocks and they're difficult to move over. You've got the bases. I got. No, 88 lo-fi kills. 88. 10 years before 98. It's pretty ahead of its time for 88. If I said 98, that is my error. Stage 1 clear, so I destroyed the bases. Yeah, the Namco Museum collections were pretty good. I mean, for PlayStation collections, considering the hardware they were trying to... I say emulate, it's more of a simulation. They weren't proper emulations. But yeah, to get this on the PlayStation as an arcade port was pretty impressive, really. It's doing a lot of things that were advanced for the time. And this is one of the earlier Namco System 2 games too. I think the first game was in '87, which was Final Lap. Cow knows all about Final Lap. Final Lap obviously used a slightly different board with road layer and didn't really use the rotation. But this did use the rotation, and you know, to me this is one of Namco's more impressive games of the era. They've used the rotation to enhance the gameplay. Actually, and the zooming as well. Not just the rotation, but the zooming. And if you've seen the parts where I jump up to get extra distance and special attacks. Yeah, if we're talking tank games, say this is one of my top tank games in MAME. Wasn't Namco's only tank game. They did like Tank Force, Tank Battalion, all those popular games, but this is my favourite, Tokyo War as well, which we looked at on the previous stream. But Tokyo War is mainly designed for multiplayer, whereas this is a single player experience. I'm running out of time though. There is a time limit, and if you don't do what you want to do quickly, you will fall foul of that, which I'm doing right now. Slow the space quickly. No, failed. Yeah, it's a harder version with an easy and a hard mode. Mr. Out of Heaven. I wanted to demonstrate it because the selection screen is kind of an interesting one in the sense that if you don't sync the CPUs properly, it doesn't work. Blazer, Grobda, Battle City, Tank Battalion. You see, they've got their tank games in the high score names. Yeah, Grobda's another Namco tank game. Namco did like their tank games. So we can try and rush to the boss, but that's risky because you might get shot. But rushing to the boss might give you time to destroy the boss. See, this is when shoot 'em ups were kind of more creative. I've got lots of... yeah. They should just rotate this. You mean the whole monitor, Thomas? You want them to rotate the whole monitor? Grobda's quite rare, yeah. It's not one of Namco's most common games. Unfortunately, I failed again, and you have to restart the level again if you fail. So, yeah, it's not an easy game. This is definitely one worth checking out, and it's one I missed on the Namco streams, and one I regretted missing on the Namco stream because, I think this is one of Namco's best games. You do have to customize yourself to the tank controls. But you are controlling a tank, so that kind of makes sense. It also has the opening music which is unused in the regular Assault. I didn't realise that. Is that unused or just added in this version? Because we did look at that. That's not very useful. There we go. That's stage 2 clear. Hey, familia Espinosalas. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, this game has been playable in MAME for many years. This is the selection screen's probably not worked until about 5 years ago, but the actual game's been playable for a long time. This is Assault Plus by Namco. In fact, I mean, you can run this on fairly low spec hardware, at least if you're using an older version. Although it's not too demanding even on current versions. I think a Raspberry Pi will still run this one. At least a Pi 4. Not sure about the older Pis. I thought that was going to miss me. It's in the sound test on the regular version. Okay, so yeah, they probably just ran out of time implementing it on the regular Assault, which might explain one reason why they did Assault Plus. I mean, you know, in the games industry, deadlines are quite tight, and sometimes you don't have all the time you want to implement the content you want to implement. Anyway, Assault Plus. It's a difficult game. But it's a game worth playing, and a game that maps quite well to, you know, dual stick controls, which most modern console pads have. The waiting theme for players in Final Lap. You'd have to emulate the link, I think, Cow. The flagman did get fixed. Shall we have a little look at that next, if it implements properly? I'm going to launch. Oh, sorry. I need to vertical my display first. Horizontal my display first, even from vertical. Right. Apparently, there's a cheat that says infinite time, so I'm going to turn that on. Hey, Aussie guy, welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing well. So yeah, hopefully I have infinite time. If I don't, then I shall complain bitterly to Pugsy. I think this infinite time effect may have a slight side effect. Or KO did not anticipate the side effect of this fix. Hey GP, welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing well. We are attempting to look at a fix to Final Lap R, which I have not tested before the stream. Red, go. Okay, so yeah, if I turn this cheat on now, yeah. Don't turn the cheat on before you start to race, otherwise, apparently it's a nice traffic light coordination system which lets people cross the road for infinite amount of time before the race starts. Now, as you can see, I'm an amazing driver and I have stopped time with my amazing skills. So yes, there's still 65 seconds to go. I may turn this cheat off towards the end of the final lap. Now I'm sure Cow already knows the flagman is fixed. Cow is far better at this game than I am, because cows can drive cars better than I can. Also, what Cow is not aware of is that the other day I went on a cow safari. Also, with time frozen, the other cars apparently don't move, which is kind of funny. But yes, I saw many a cow while somebody was driving a tractor with me on a trailer. Photos were taken, but as the photos have my other half in them, I've not shared them. But apparently, yes, I can freeze time, including all the other races. So here you are enjoying Final Lap R. Hey, I have no license for this car. Low FICOs. Oh, they clearly don't either. Because, oh dear. Move out of the way. You're highly irresponsible to stop like that on an F1 track. I have to say, now I'm on the final lap, so I can turn the cheat off. Apparently time still doesn't go down, which is kind of worrying, but we'll deal with this. We'll deal with time still being stopped. I'm clearly a Time Lord right here. BBC, you know, if you want to sign me up for the latest series, I'm available. My rates are pretty good. Clearly I can just stop time at 99 seconds on demand. Likewise Marvel, if you've got any bombs you need to dispose of, I can be your next Iron Man, because clearly I'm far better than Iron Man, because when I'm around, time stops, although cars apparently start again. But mine thing also, spins are good for movies, aren't they? And you saw it in my previous stream. I can do the microwave explosions in Puzzle Bobble. So there we go. They have the flagman waving, and I finished him first. Maybe I can have more than 99 seconds. And there we go. Congratulations. This is the first time you have seen me do okay on Final. So I will proudly enter my initials. Proudly, proudly, proudly. There you go. Can you beat that cow? Can you beat that? Infinite time spent at the start line. Yes, that was what was happening, Mo. So there we go. You see the final lap guy, the flag guy now waves his flag to signify the final lap. And that's all to do with network status. I mean, I had a feeling it might be because these Namco games are meant to be linked. But if it's detecting any kind of link at all, it will not do the flag at the end, which was what was wrong there. So, again, bug fixed. I mean, I was looking at Speed Race, but the Speed Race issues are more complex and don't make any sense at all. Let's be fair. It could be a CPU bug there. It could be something we just don't understand about the Namco time maps. Beating first place is, I'm assuming you mean impossible. But yeah, that's Final Lap R. So yeah, that bug is fixed, cow. There is another little Final Lap fix for you. Apparently you've still got that report open that some of the sound effects don't play in the original Final Lap, and that's more tricky to fix. But you know, as Final Lap itself goes, Final Lap R, there you go. That's a new fix. Now we will look at the other Chuo game, which is Time Limit. Now, the one thing that came to light with Time Limit is that the set that is dumped is clearly an older version of the game, because there are videos on YouTube of a version of this game with many bug fixes and many more features that are not in this version. And that's not a MAME emulation issue, that is just the version of the game that is dumped. But it does run much slower now, like half the speed, so it is now playable. So we're coming up. So you can't move for a little while. But now you're moving at a reasonable speed. Now one of the things on the newer version of the game that has been demonstrated online is that when you climb a ladder, in MAME you can only shoot left. You can't shoot right at all. Doesn't matter what direction you're facing, when you go on the ladder you can only fire left. on the later version of the game, you can also fire to the right. Now, the timing, you'll notice that it has time to play the funeral march before it replays the start animation sequence here, which is kind of the indication of if it's running at the correct speed or not. But I tried to play this on the elevator stream because clearly, you know, there's an elevator here, which I will be jumping on shortly. Or trying to. If only this was anywhere near as good as elevator action. This game is a mess. I mean, you're meant to be finding a time bomb to get rid of it. But in this version of the game, it doesn't even tell you where that time bomb is. Again, the later version of the game actually has an indicator that tells you if the time bomb is up or down from your current location. This version of the game doesn't. This version of the game is, I mean, it's a mess. It's barely playable at the correct speed. The later version of the game that's not dumped, it's still barely playable, but it's more playable than this. Yeah, I just walked off the edge. What is the time limit? The time limit is my patience. So I don't know where the bomb is. You keep going down. But yeah, the later version of the game, there is an arrow that shows you where the bomb is. One of the flaws of this game is every level is the same, just the bomb placement differs. They can't go down an escalator, which kind of makes sense, I guess. Also, it just wraps. Yes, once you are dying, solid objects no longer fly. But yeah, you know, the whole of the duel or junk stream. Yeah, and if you duck for some reason. You face right. Also, you know, that guy wasn't going up or down the ladder. Basically, even when emulated properly, this version of the game is a broken mess. This would have been one of the only games, I think, in that duel or junk stream that would have easily obtained junk status. Well, no, I mean, I wouldn't be happy with my landlord either if, you know, every day I was having to put out bombs because apparently that's what happens. Oh, look, I'm dead because I got trapped and there's no way to deal with that. Awful August. So, is August a good thing or is August a bad thing? I mean, I think awful or awesome for August might have worked. But, yeah, in terms of elevator games, this one leaves a little bit to be desired. I'd love to see the later version of this dump though, because the later version might be a playable game. This version of the game is not playable. At least, in my opinion, is not playable. Yeah, Super Rider and Fitter Roundup are all quite similar hardware, as is the Pit. But this is easily the worst of the games with that brand. At least now it's kind of playable. That's not much, but you know, at least now it's not turbo speed. At least now you can see what killed you, even if you don't know how to avoid what killed you because the controls are a mess. Also, August has another meaning beyond the month. Okay, I was not aware of that, Thomas. It is far more difficult than elevator action. It's far more unfair than elevator action. And it is a far worse game than elevator action. I mean, there's not much good I can say about this one. I've not even managed to complete a level yet. I don't know where the bomb is. At this point, I'm not even sure I care where the bomb is. But we'll try and go up here. We'll try. You see, I think the L's in the window are for learner. Like, everybody in this building is learning how to play this game. And they will probably quit before they have their test. This game does not inspire reverence or admiration. It is not of supreme dignity or grandeur. It is not majestic. The clock is ticking on this game. I'm trying not to swear right now because, you know, I like to keep my streams family friendly. But this is not a game I would have been investing time in the arcades. For one, it doesn't tell you what you're meant to do. It's like, it feels like a bad Spectrum game. You know, one of those Spectrum games you bought on budget. There you go, oh, yeah, I just wasted £2 on that game and never want to play it again. So yeah, Chuo and the arcade legacy is not the best. I think Phil Bennett's brother was working on some Namco network emulation, at least for like a driver's eyes to get the multi-screen working. Can I quit this one now? I'm quitting this one now. So that was Thailand. It escaped the elevator stream on the grounds of being broken, and quite frankly, it's not much more playable now. It runs at the correct speed. Here is Clash Road, a game by Woodplace that Data East also distributed. This is another one that previously ran too fast in MAME, which KO again halved the speed of, and it now seems more playable. The chat is working tonight, David. Yes, it is far better than it was last night when it was just annoying the heck out of me. So we've got to 46 minutes without me moaning about the chat. Now, this is one of the few cycling games in MAME. I did notice the calorie bar still flashes. I don't know why. But it does now run at a more playable speed. Now, Woodplace have done quite a few good games. They did the Deep, Run Deep, which Taito is also distributed. I believe they did Fire Trap and I think a few others. But Clash Road, let's have a look at it. Japanese collectors and MAME, it's a mixed bag. A lot of Japanese collectors inherently just don't like emulation. That was a terrible start. Some are helpful. Same as everywhere, really. I mean, you can talk about Japanese collectors, you can talk about American collectors. I mean, you can talk about, you know, the guy who has Marble Madness 2 and loads of Atari prototypes who really doesn't want to see them emulated. Hey, Johan, welcome. Good to see you. And yeah, this is sort of a replacement stream for yesterday's stream that failed miserably because of, I think, Virgin playing up. And yeah, I'm just playing a bunch of old games badly. Yeah, you will see me fail a lot on these games. For one, I've hardly played some of them before. And secondly, I am terrible at most games. This has to be said. I emulate games, I don't really play them. Which I guess is what makes the streams hilarious. But yeah, this kind of reminds me of Milk Race on the Spectrum, which if you ever played is another bike racing game. But for some reason, this bicycle course is not bike friendly. I mean, I think I need some food because my calories are running out. Oh yeah, now I can't pedal because I ran out of calories. Anyway, I can continue the game and work out what I was meant to pick up for calories. But H doesn't give me calories. Coffee, I can't stop for a coffee. That is not allowed. But yeah, I hope you're doing well, Johan. I hope to see you soon in person. You know, things have been busy getting back to normal. A turtle apparently doesn't give you more calories. Apparently fell back in. But yes, let's see. This is not, you know, there are no drug sheets available for me. So apparently that turtle wants me. So yes, this is one of those cases where I should have really researched how to play the game before I started to stream it. Yeah, I always like the look of this game. I mean, I like to see a good biking game. I mean, we played Codemasters No Fear Downhill Biking before, which I enjoyed. That's a PlayStation game. In this case, apparently, I should fear everything. So I don't know why the calorie bar still flickers. And I also don't know how to get more health. But I'm sure... An accurate Tour de France simulator. Possibly. I mean, I'm sure there's all this violence in it. See, that gives me 100 or 1,000 points. And this guy can get off his bike. You can get off your bike too. I think we need a bit of a, you know, Queen, I want to ride my bicycle. I'm not going to jump over a pink turtle because I don't trust pink turtles, quite frankly. And apparently by brute force, I have cleared stage 1. Is it not quite final lap for you there, Cal? Oh, we get another one. I think in terms of biking arcade games, though, I'm always going to have to go for Namco's Prop Cycle with the actual bike controller. Or, you know, even Gaelco, who were trying to go with the gym machine that was a bike-themed video game. That was kind of innovative, even though it didn't take off. Last KM, they were trying to adopt into an actual game based on a bike controller, but Namco just did it better with a Prop Cycle, didn't they? But this was 86. There weren't many bike games in 86. This may have put many people off cycling. Cycle to your arcades. You will never get there. But yeah, I've not quite worked out how to get the extra energy yet. Doesn't appear to involve apparently I can collect a runner. Paperboy is the best bike game. Yeah, I can probably not disagree with that. Paperboy was actually fun. This isn't bad, but yeah, Paperboy had an original concept. I don't think anybody's done it since. I mean, even in I think GTA should have had a Paperboy mode. I mean, it's got a crazy taxi, you know, the taxis. It's got a police mode, you know, the vigilante modes. But, you know, why doesn't GTA have a you know, throwing papers at letterboxes mode? That would have been good. So yeah, I was too busy concentrating on the girl. Downhill Bikers by Namco. Yeah, wasn't it mentioned that Downhill Bikers uses the same bike controller? Also, that was cheap. You know, I died once, it didn't restore my calorie meter, so I died again straight away because my calorie meter expired. That's bad game design. If you're going to die, you should restore, you know, calorie meters, time, things like that. But there is another game in this driver that I will look at shortly because you know, Kale's work did not just affect this driver; it affected this game in the driver. It affected both of them. And the other one is licensed to Taito. So again, we're on a bit of a Taito theme lately. We had a look at, you know, the Bubble Buster in the previous start of the stream, and Operation Tiger. But yeah. So yeah, here we go. Radikal Bikers, yeah, Radikal Bikers. I had a look at the prototype Game Boy Color version of Radikal Bikers Guru, which was more of a Great 1,000 Mile Rally type game from Kaneko type style. Gaelco did develop that one. They did World Rally, didn't they? So I shouldn't really say Great 1,000 Mile Rally because World Rally is the game Gaelco developed. A lot of those Spanish games did. I mean, they have licensed soundtracks. There's some of the earlier games I remember to have licensed soundtracks, where they mentioned the you know, the artist in the attract mode. I think the surfboard game does as well. I can't remember what it's called. And I think the football game might too. But yeah, Gaelco did license Spanish tracks back in the day for their arcade games. Just, you know, usually only a track or two. And yeah, they were cheesy rock tracks, you know, Euro rock. I don't know what you describe them as. But yeah, they're not bad. Maybe we should put one of them on. Should I switch? Yeah. Okay. I don't know if my controls are mapped, but let's switch to Radikal Bikers and see how I do. Now, Atari did license a number of these. So, yeah, Radikal. Gaelco with a G are from Spain. Gaelco with a J are from Japan. A bit loud again. But yeah, this is a Spanish game. Because Spain was a surprisingly big developer for arcade games. You had quite a few companies in Spain and computer games in general. I mean, you had Dynamic, you had Gaelco in the arcades, you had TCH, a whole bunch of them. Nix's Pirates is a Spanish game too. Surf Planet, that's the one, Mr. Guru. Yeah. Yeah, this is I ran this a long time ago. It's kind of a funky. It's very 90s. But yeah, you're a racer on a pizza delivery, and yeah, the controls are probably not set anything like right. So let's try and speed them a bit. Everybody played it until he's on top. Yeah, it's a European game. The European games tend to be very popular in Europe. But yeah, it got a PlayStation port too, didn't it? Which wasn't very popular because it's a bit basic. You've got to know the shortcuts as well. This is all about knowing the short and not crashing bus stops. But yeah, very, very cheesy song. But they also did things like Smashing Drive, which is similar with a taxi. That one doesn't work in MAME yet, but I think you can play it in DMUL. Yeah, it's a song all about delivering pizzas. Oh, I missed the jump there. I had a pizza yesterday. It was overpriced and not very good. As are most takeaway pizzas here. So yeah. I think the football game's playable, Guru. It's just got awkward controls. I have played the football game, but you were kicking a ball on it, so you know you got your joystick and a ball to kick, and the ball kicking controls the direction. Football power, I think it is. But yeah, I've run out of time here. Hey Franco, welcome. And yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I say it's been a busy couple of weeks. I've not been streaming much, but I tried last night and ended up with technical difficulties, so you know I decided to resume it tonight. There we go, power kick. But, yeah, I mean personally I prefer Gaelco's or Gaelco's 2D games, World Rally and the like, but for original 3D hardware, I mean, a lot of companies were just going with like Voodoo-based boards. Gaelco developed, you know, most of their own hardware and their own 3D systems. So for an original 3D system developed in Spain, this is pretty impressive. It looks better than quite a few of the, you know, the Voodoo-based games. Got this one, can't I? Yeah, see, drive up here, get a bit of. I didn't do that properly. Jump off the traffic. But yeah, I could probably put on football power and play it, but you kick the ball with the mouse and it's just awkward. But that's the game, not the emulation. I think I get 0 again. I don't think this is the best score. It's probably a censorship issue, GP. A lot of games were censored. I mean, it's not just the Middle East. It's, you know, Japanese games got censored. Games over here got censored. Certain things were not considered appropriate in certain markets, so they got changed. We've got a version of Gunbird 2 in MAME, which is for Korea, which just has the voices taken out because Japanese voices weren't wanted in Korea. The soundtrack does get a bit repetitive on this, but you know. We'll forgive it. I've got some more time. It's just listing different types of pizzas in the song. Yeah, somebody should cover this song if they haven't already. Mozzarella, pepperoni, calzone. There is a little bit of a jump in the music. The music, yeah, the audio does seem to skip occasionally. That might be a slight frame rate issue. Maybe it's meant to be like 59.99 instead of 60, or I don't know what it's set to. It's currently set to exactly 60, so maybe it's meant to be 59.9, and so it skips when it's meant to loop or something like that. That's quite common in emulation because a lot of the time back in the day, all the emulation was set to 60. But then you've got music that doesn't quite sync to 60 and you get little skips like that. So this might be a case of where the exact frame rate needs measuring. But yeah, Radikal Bikers. It's not a bad little biking game, did it? Am I using a VRR display? I don't know what a VRR display is, Jeff Mark II. I am just using 3 fairly cheap monitors. So yeah. So where are we going next? This is where I open up my file of games. Oh no, I know what I'm doing because there's one other one in the Clash Road driver. Sorry. This is Fire Battle, another Woodplace game which was licensed to Taito. Now this does seem to have some protection device that is not dumped or emulated. I don't know what the protection device is, but there is a protection device which has to be worked around in this game. Woodplace games in general, I think King of Boxers has some protection device too, or Ring King, I think that's the name. They're not always clear. They're a little bit like the Gaelco ones. But yeah, this is another one that Kale has improved. So the lightning effects now work, because they didn't flash the screen before, now they flash the screen. And there are some colour cycling effects in the game that previously didn't work that now work. So yeah, let's call this up and play it. So this is basically a blatant rip-off of Xevious. You got your bomb and attack, you got your fire. Even the sound effects are kind of Xevious-like. So originality, yeah, this gets no points at all. Not even a single one. Doesn't mean it's a bad game, it just means it's not original. Music, you've got your background. Not much else to go on. But it's one of those games where you could say it does a job. Beyond that is probably giving it too much credit. £666. That would be very quick. Very quick, GP. Very quick indeed. You can't struggle to play any game at 666 Hz. That would hurt. It's kind of a Space Invaders-like sound, isn't it? It's meant to create a sensation of intensity, I guess. A little bit of panic, a little bit of everything's coming at you right now. But when the action is quite slow, it doesn't really work. Space Invaders did it when the action got faster. Although your ship is very slow, I have to say. Now, I seem to remember back in the day, Pugs, the guy who maintains the cheat file, is the one who worked around the protection issues in this. Although at the time I didn't know there was a protection device, but since studying it a bit more, it's quite clear there is some sort of protection device on the board. But probably needs either dumping, decapping, or something else. Final that runs at 60.60.66. My count. It's kind of an evil game. Yes, count. I don't know if the PS1 port of Radikal was any good, Franco. It got terrible reviews, but I think that might just because it's a straight arcade port of a very basic arcade game, and that was never really popular. It's one of the things the Dreamcast suffered from is, you know, straight arcade ports that didn't add anything. Sega should have really seen that failure coming. But yeah, a lot of arcade games didn't translate too well to PlayStation just because they were too basic. We looked at Konami's Winding Heat and Midnight Run the other week, and again, one of those got an arcade port to the PlayStation, and it was considered average because PlayStation was getting games like Gran Turismo, which just had far more content. So, you know, straight put an arcade game with 2 tracks and a couple of cars. Not what people wanted. So yeah, Fire Battle. So I don't mind this. You know, you had a lot of early shooters that were kind of similar, kind of basic. Capcom did Vulgus, for example. Even Cebu had a few very basic early ones. Air Raid, which isn't quite emulated properly yet because you can't dump the graphic ROMs and the layout ROMs for the backgrounds. So yeah, there were some early games that were all kind of basic. I guess you played whichever one your arcade had, but Namco being the big distributor, you were probably more likely to get Xevious. The thing is, Daytona 2 was never that popular in the first place, so I don't know if a Dreamcast port would have saved the Dreamcast when Hot Mackay. But yeah, they should have probably ported more than the Model 3 games to the Dreamcast. But they just it's such a terrible job with Sega Rally on because it used Windows CE, which limited the performance. That who knows what could have been. So yeah, this is another Woodplace game, Fire Battle. I think you've seen what it has to offer. KO did fix a few effects in it and visuals in it recently. Yeah, Guru, there's been a lot of talk about these Space Invaders sound circuits over the years, like the Taito ones and the Midway ones use different values, and what's in MAME is based on the schematics and doesn't produce the same sounds people remember. It's a difficult subject. It is one where I think the recent developments in MAME's discrete system, you know, netlist audio, would improve it a lot if somebody reworks it. Yeah, I don't know if you say corrected. I think there are different versions of Space Invaders. Just the version MAME handles is the least common one, not the one everybody remembers. I think there were boards based on the original schematic, but probably the less common ones. So, where are we going next? That is what I'm not so sure of, because those were the fixes I wanted to demonstrate. I could look at some of the Konami ones again. I could look at Solar Assault again. In fact, I'll look at another fix that runs far too slow. So this isn't really a playable game, but this is kind of a curious one. dgPIX Entertainment Funky Ball. I believe you dumped this one too, Guru, actually. This uses a 233 MHz Media GX, so basically a sort of, I think it's Pentium 2 era processor, and the KS0164 audio. So it's a PC on a board. It uses a Voodoo graphics system. It's currently set up to display both screens, including the terminal. Let's change that because we don't need to see the terminal. Let's just see the first screen. So yeah, the board on this one is the V-Render 0 Alpha or something. Was it Beta? I think it's V-Render 0 Beta. Which a lot of people think means it's a prototype board, but it's not a prototype board. It's just they called the board the V-Render 0 Beta for some reason. But this is one where the 3D graphics were broken for a long time. I mean, it's only running... that part was running 100% speed. This part's running 100% speed. But it is a 233 megahertz Pentium 2 system, so in-game it will run a lot slower. They did Mega Low, yes, they did. A lot of them did. Not all of them, but things like Hang Pilot did, yes. And Silent Scope did. Yeah, it's a PC motherboard with a Voodoo chipset, but it is a custom design. It uses flash ROMs for the graphics, and basically loads the game off flash ROMs. Now, for the longest time, this didn't work properly because the 3D was corrupt. Now, it's still only running at like 32% speed, so it's not really playable. But now the graphics do render correctly, which is a nice improvement. But I think this was actually quite a popular game in Korea because it's got like a whole tournament screen in a track mode, you know, talking about a tournament dgPIX were running to play the game, where you could win prizes and all that. So while it might not be a game that's really known outside of Korea, I think in Korea it's probably quite well known. But yeah, it's basically a foot volleyball game. I don't remember GTI. I think GTI Club might have been custom audio, a custom video. Yeah, the audio on this is going to be bad because this is running at 25% speed, so please forgive me that. Also, the audio is generally badly emulated. Yeah, I can have a look at GTI Club in a bit if you want, but it is playable in MAME, but the controls are a bit difficult to map. Yeah, GTI Club was a common one over here, and the sequel. There was a sequel to GTI Club 2. The sequel doesn't really run in MAME, but I can have a look at the original GTI Club in a bit. But yeah, this one, Aaron found the corrupt graphics because the actual game reads a write-only register, and you can't return the content it wrote. You have to return, you know, an all 1 or all 0 value, otherwise it will enable texture. It will disable texture wrapping, which will corrupt all the graphics. Hey, Joe, thank you for joining, and enjoy some Radikal Bikers on the Game Boy Color, the prototype. It's a fun little game. But yeah, this is currently running at 23% speed. I think a recompiler for the x86 core might fix it up a little bit more, but you can see there's improvements. It looks as it should now. I think it may be running a little too fast now, actually. I think if I was to Avi write this, it might run faster than it should do. Because to me, it feels like it's almost full speed when it's running at 25% speed. But, you know. Once MAME gets a recompiler for the processor, it'll be easy to judge. But again, it's a little bit of progress that Aaron and Crazy Carl worked on. It doesn't currently save the high scores correctly. It fails on the flash RAM writes. Yeah, it does run really, really well since Phil's latest change. It's just mapping the controls on a keyboard is a little tricky, girl. But you see, this one has improved a lot. This one used to be basically unplayable. This has actually got a really cool intro if you let it run. If you let your track mode run, there is actually, this game is one of those games that has a full track mode intro and story and everything else, which you don't expect in a Korean game, but you do get it here. But yeah, it runs in low resolution. It's a waste of the Voodoo hardware, if we're honest. But I'm always glad to see these lesser known Korean games doing something worthwhile in MAME, and this is one of them. I've got, I think I've got an Xbox 360 pad somewhere. I've got an Xbox One pad, you know, PS4 pads. I think the newer Xbox pads actually look better. They've got better D-pads on. But, what was it? I've apparently Yeah, I've disconnected my controls. Somehow. Yeah, somehow I've lost control of that game. Anyway. That was Funky Ball. That's just another demonstration of progress in MAME recently. So it's more playable now than it was before. It still needs a recompiler because that was apparently running at 25% speed. But yeah, it's always good to see progress. Yeah, I'll look at GTI Club then. So GP mentioned this one, Go mentioned this one. Yeah. I really don't know how we're going to play this one. I think that auto manual switch is going to be important. Steering wheel analog. I don't think we want gas pedal analog. I don't know what increase or decrease in that. Handbrake. I don't think you can ignore it. Device error steering. See, this is device error here because the game actually wants the force feedback to move the steering wheel and detect the positions, and because MAME can't emulate force feedback to change the input positions, it says device error because it wants to know the steering wheel's turn, so it gives a device error. But right, what are we doing? I just okay, we can do that. We can do that. IO option. IO. Yeah, that works. That kind of works. That kind of works. Handbrake and ignoring. Gear shift up. Oh, view. What's view? Oh, view is that one. Okay. Now I'll try and calibrate again. And probably fail. Let's just see if the controls work. If they don't, guys, it's no. Tell you what, let's try and relaunch that. I've played this recently. It works. The driver is still a bit finicky. There we go. Now this may work. This may not work. We will see. So let's see what happens with GTI Club. What's the attract mode? The attract mode looks pretty well. 30Y. If 30 years is bad, 40 years must be worse for Hot Mackay. And I now have 40 years. But yeah, this is one of those... it's a hill climb game, really. You go around a circuit, you've got to get up the hill, down the hill. There's not much content. It's a very small game. But it was a very popular game for Konami. So you've got your cars, you've got your minis. 3 coins for that one, so you know. If you want the good car, it costs you a lot of money. Easy, hard, very hard. Let's just go with you tag race as well, which is like the bomb mode. So change the view. Let's go this one. Yeah, I mean, I guess in 1996 there weren't many 3D games, and there were even less 3D games that tried to do something like this. I think this is kind of what SNK were trying to copy with, you know, their Road Edge, Extreme Valley games, just point-to-point races with shortcuts. But this is the one that was really popular. I mean, the physics are pretty bad. But it is an iconic arcade game. It's one of those Konami games when Konami were really on their game, producing things that nobody else was doing. I think you can play the bomb made against the computer, can't you? At least it used to be available, but I don't remember. Maybe the network was just faked back then. There are a lot of invisible walls. You can't just jump over random things you're meant to go around. But yeah, this one runs pretty well now. I mean, it's smooth. It runs at full frame rate. It's just mapping the controls to anything sensible is a little tricky. So, I'm sure that What Do You Think You're Doing sample is in Winding Heat, or was it Midnight Run 2? There's a shortcut there I didn't take, but that car did. I know, out of time. Yeah, it's the same as the SNK games. If you don't take the shortcuts, you're going to lose. You can see the shortcuts on the map. A very WC Le Mans, or even Burning Rubber on the CPC, like a course map at the end there. I think there's only the one track. You get the mirror mode, but Winding Heat, yeah. Mega low. Now, I did look at, in the first part of the stream, I did look at Phil's improvements to Operation Tiger 2, which were quite impressive. He's also got his own video on his own channel that I wasn't aware of for Operation Tiger, so if you can find Vilwind on Twitter, he does actually have a link to his own video on Operation Tiger that covers a little bit more of the game than I did. So I wouldn't personally consider it working yet because of all the stutter issues, but again, that's a big improvement in Operation Tiger. I'm doing worse this time. I'm trying to read the chat, sorry. Again, I think this is one of those games that, had it been released on the Dreamcast, would have got quite bad reviews for just the lack of content. I mean, there's just one track. If it was maybe a budget game at like £5, £10, people might have accepted it. If you were paying like £40, £50, £60 for this game, people would go, for one track? Maybe not. But yeah, the sequel unfortunately doesn't work very well yet. That was on, I think that's got a Voodoo, that's Konami Viper hardware, which I believe has a Voodoo 3. Whereas this one I think is custom Konami 3D hard. Oh dear. That was a shortcut. But I think, you know, with Vil on this spree of improving 3D games, we may end up seeing improvements to Viper 2. But obviously I can't tell you, I can't say, yeah, Vil is going to improve Viper, because he might not. But I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Oh, so close to a checkpoint. 4th place race over. Okay. So I missed some shortcuts. Yeah, I took the shortcut there that time, you see, on the yellow, and that one. So the yellow route, the second lap, I actually took both the main shortcuts. I don't remember which is the one I saw with a PC-based motion control cabinet, because I remember seeing the GTI Club game, one of them, in London, and it had the big motion setup, big cabinet with motion setup, and it had a PC controlling the motion controls, because I remember because the PC had a blue screen because the PC had crashed, so the motion control didn't work anymore. I don't remember if that was the first game or the second game though. The problem with Phil is everything kind of ends up in a to-do list. He's got so much stuff unsubmitted, Guru. I mean, he had a fully working driver for Atari's Metal Maniacs, which he never submitted and lost in a hard drive crash. He's got the internal ROM from the Casio loop he dumped and a working driver, mostly working driver, and he's not submitted it yet. This is why I don't want to give Phil any more work, because Phil kind of gets involved in things and then doesn't submit them because he's too busy with things and gets overwhelmed with things. Yeah, so I'm just hoping, you know, Phil gets around to submitting some of the things he's got, because he's got a lot of unsubmitted stuff that's pretty cool and would be good to see MAME. But I don't know when it's going to be submitted. Solar Assault, I think the original Solar Assault had the motion camera. I don't know if the export version did. I'm not sure. I've never seen it, so I can't tell you for sure. Where we go next? I think we just go with something, not a theme, just something I want to play a little bit of. Let's have a look at Raizing or 18's Brave Blade. I think this is one of their overlooked shooters because this was on PlayStation based hardware, not traditional 2D, and a lot of people just want to play traditional 2D shooters. But we may as well have a little look at this one. So yeah, when a company goes from 2D art to 3D art, it doesn't always work out. Raizing had a few 3D games, a few 3D shooters. They had the one on the Saturn, which I always forget the title of, Terror Driver, yeah, long title in Japanese. In GTI Club, yes, you press the start button to change the camera. With high octane fuel, that might be bad for you, Flack you, but I can potentially bless you if you wish to win a race with the high octane fuel. Operate the fighter unit with the lever. Change the flight configuration. Basically, it's a shooter with some 3D effects. Change the knife configuration with your sword. Yeah, it's a little bit Radiant Silvergun, isn't it? Yeah, Gradient Silvergun. It was clearly influenced by Radiant Silvergun. Which means I'm not going to play it properly because, you know, I'm just going to try and shoot things. I think Raizing's most famous game is probably, for the mainstream audience, Silent Scope. Which, unfortunately, despite its simple appearance, is a dual Voodoo game. The scope display is an entirely separate video board with its own Voodoo chipset, which is kind of bad in terms of emulation. That was bad. So if you're in sword mode, you have to use the sword button to attack, otherwise you change back to regular mode. But yeah, the PlayStation hardware was used really well in arcades, I think. In terms of home consoles that were used as arcade hardware and evolved as arcade hardware, I think the PlayStation probably wins. I mean, you could say the Dreamcast with Naomi, but I don't know. The evolution of the PlayStation hardware seems far more impressive because, you know, you had PlayStation arcade games that were, you know, using systems 4 times more powerful than the original PlayStation. Now, I think this might be a 2-hour stream today because I did about an hour of this stream yesterday when I was having issues. I don't want to go on too late, so probably got about half an hour left of the stream. If anybody has any suggestions in chat of games they'd like to see on the stream, please let me know. Because I say it's a fairly unplanned stream. If nobody suggests things, I'm just going to open up my file of games I didn't get to play in other streams. Probably put a bit of Keystone Capers for the 2.6 million or something like that.
Mission accomplished. Returning.
Multi-cab Bridget would be very impressive on the GX4000 GP. You get 4 players, each in control of their own bridge. That would be a killer game. Violence fight. Do you want violence fight or do you want Silent Dragon Lo-Fi kills? I'm Sorry is pretty good. I mean, it's quite a political take on quite a few well-known figures, at least in Japan. But as a game, I'm sorry, is pretty enjoyable. It's one of Sega's better games that had a fairly humorous theme, but it is kind of enjoyable. Violence fight with a cheat. Yeah, Back Raid is one I added to the Toplan driver back in the day, Gaelco 2. I remember that one. But the sound wasn't quite emulated correctly, and I think the sound ROMs needed redumping at the time or something like that. I don't remember. I know I added it, and it took a bit of extra work to get it quite right. But that was the time when nobody even cared about shooters. Everybody thought shooters were a waste of time in MAME and thought, you know, why are you adding shooters? I got a lot of criticisms for adding Battle Back Raid to MAME because everybody thought, you know, waste of time, credit muncher, pointless game, and now everybody loves shooters, so it just shows how opinions change. That was a bit mean. Fast food. I remember fast food on the Codemasters game on the 8-bits. Are you talking about Food Fight? I don't remember fast food on the 2600.
Mission accomplished. Returning. 2 p.m. June 16th.
What do I think about Diablo 2? I've not really played Diablo 2. I played Diablo 3 on the PS3 and kind of thought it was okay. There's just not much to it. I played Diablo 1 on the PlayStation. I never really played Diablo 2. What are my PC specs? Let me check. Let me check what my PC specs. I haven't played Diablo 2. No, thank you. Okay, what are my PC specs since it is being asked in the chat? That is a question that I am not entirely sure. I mean, the PC is pretty old right now. So, where device manager, isn't it? My processor is an Intel i7-4790K at 4 GHz. I have 32 GB of RAM, which Peter helped buy. Who, you know, Peter Wilhelmsson, who did quite a bit from AIM, sort of paid for the RAM upgrade. My graphics card is a GTX 970 driving 3 monitors. And my monitors are generic P&P monitor. I've got an LG monitor, which is awful. Ilyama monitor, which I've had for ages, it's pretty good. And a cheap Samsung monitor, which is alright. And yeah, that doesn't give you many details, but yeah, those are the PC specs I am running. So there you go. Oh, sorry. I don't memorize these things, I just kind of take them for granted. It's a fairly old i7 now, but it does for most things in MAME. If I'm going to do more actual commercial development work, I'll probably have to upgrade it because it's a bit behind the times. But for MAME stuff, it does really well still. Is the PC spec personal information? Not really. Okay, so what's this fast food on the 2600 then? Because I'm curious now, because fast food is a game I know on other systems and it's not going to be the same game. So before violence fight, I'm going to look at yeah, fast food. It is indeed a game on the 2600, which I was not aware of. So, oh, it's looking a bit like that Universal game. Okay. This is not an arcade game, but no, Bob. This is a 2600 game, which I will be trying to play. Select game, reset game. Oh, yeah, I forget how few. How do I start it? Okay, I'm just going to start. So I collect that. What do I avoid collecting? You can know what the food is. Whoop. I have to avoid the purple pickles. Okay. So if I get too many of those, I die, do I? I have to eat the junk food. I'm not even sure how you start this game. I literally have 2 buttons here. Okay, I've started the game. So I avoid the purple pickles and eat the rest. Okay. If I miss too much, do I die? Is it one of those? It's well drawn. I like the graphics here. So I didn't grow up with the 2600, but yeah. Later stages. I am getting fatter apparently. Oh, there we go. No visual representation of me getting fatter. Is that it? Do I have to start a new game now? I guess I do. How do I even... And I didn't own the 2600, so I don't even know how to actually start a game properly on 2600. I just hammer the buttons until I can play. How do I start a game? Select game, changes 1 to 2. Start game changes 0. What am I doing? Yeah, I didn't own a 2600, so I don't know what I'm doing on a 2600. Oh, I got one of the purple ones, so I can keep it. These early systems sometimes confuse. You know, Spectrum games I know how to load the games because I grew up with one. 2600 games, I'm not entirely sure the sequence you always press. I missed food too. Oh, I don't want that one. So that's another game over. Reset just changes that to 0. Left difficulty switch, A or B. Honestly, some 2600 games I can work out. This one, I've started the game again apparently. I seem to be in slow mode. Sorry for my lack of 2600 knowledge. I did not grow up with one. Yeah, this looks like a fun little game. I mean, I played that one with the lasso before, which I didn't really enjoy because it didn't seem fair. This one at least seems fair. I think I put it in easy mode again. But the game ends very quickly. Convert button 1 to spacebar. So that's spacebar. Okay, I've done something there. So what's that do? Even if that's spacebar, I honestly don't know. I seem to survive for longer when I picked up the purple things though, so I don't know. I know they make me burp. And it's so when it turns... Apologies for my lack of 2600 knowledge here. Let's see what I can do. So what's the game over condition with me just eating junk food? Do I miss a certain amount and it's game over? Because, you know, I didn't think I missed anything bad though. It's still game over. I can't start it on 2. I can only start it on 0. If it's on 0, I can start a game. If it's on 2, I can't start a game. I don't get that. Whereas 1 and 2 are different than play. Yeah, I can't work that one out. It's a gem, is it, Bob? It's a gem that is slightly beyond me. I probably have to play that off stream to work out how to actually play it properly and how to get to the more difficult levels. That actually looked fun. That did actually look fun. Just my 2 seconds of knowledge is quite poor. Anyway, Violence Fight was requested. In fact, Violence Fight with cheats was requested. So let's play Violent Fight where nothing can kill me. That sounds like a good idea. Because we played this before. And we know this is like bad pit fighter. I'm going to be Lick Joe. Because Joe requires licking. Which is exactly what I was trying to do on my preview link for the stream. Why are the explosions when I hit somebody on my own sprite? This makes literally no sense. So I have infinite energy, so I don't care what this guy's doing. I'm going to boggle him down to the ground. There we go. Yeah, it's probably lucky, Joe, isn't it, for that cue? Am I going to have to play Pit Fighter too? Am I going to spend like the last 10 minutes of the stream playing Pit Fighter? Guardians of the Hood after this? Yeah, there's quite a few of those old consoles where they've got like pads with numeric numbers on, and unless you've got the manuals to know what to press to start a game, you're just hammering buttons until the game starts. I've covered 1 or 2 of those before. I usually practice those off stream before I play them, but since I don't have a set lineup for the stream, I'm just playing whatever people suggest. But we'll get another like 20 minutes out of the stream, and then I'll probably call it. Yeah, Guardians of the Hood is just bad. Guardians of the Hood is Atari have lost the plot. Bad. Psycho Who? Yeah, I played that one before the controls were fixed, so that might be another one to play. Because the controls were fixed on the 3D stages, and when I played it, the controls didn't work on the 3D stages, so that is potentially one to play. Yeah, Aussie guy. In fact, I might rather play that than Guardians of the Hood, to be quite honest. Yeah, that was one that I can't remember his name, but there was somebody who was fixing quite a few bugs in obscure games and Itsubutsu games and the like who fixed up Psycho Magoo. But yeah, this is just a bad game. Tattoo Assassins. I like Tattoo Assassins. That's a pretty good game. And again, the sound was fixed on that one a year or 2 ago. It had a stage where the sound completely broke at the time, but now Tattoo Assassins works really well. I still don't understand why Taito would think this was a good game, never mind put it in a compilation of their best games, which apparently it did. Yeah, the Twin Towers in 1950s Los Angeles. This isn't badly emulated, apart from the fact I'm using cheats, so I can't lose any health, because frankly, I can't be bothered to play this game properly. I'm just mashing my way through it. If you want a really bad game, you can look at Black Touch 96. Now that's a bad game. Maybe we should. Unfortunately, I do want to demonstrate some good games on my streams, but it's always tempting to play bad ones, isn't it? This game wishes it was Art of Fighting 1. I kind of like Art of Fighting 1. This thing is just... Go. Even with cheats, this is just frustrating. Not as bad as Taito, the video system game one. Yeah, this makes you appreciate Pit Fighter. And yes, these cheesy guys who look like an overweight old tag team. And now we have to fight the tiger. Joe versus the tiger. And hitting the tiger is really difficult because you don't have any low attacks to my knowledge. You know, you can't duck to punch. You have to wait for the tiger to jump. Or something, because this game is painfully bad. Enjoy keyboard noises. I don't even know why I've got a power bar. I don't know what that does. Well, there we go. I've got power. But luckily, I've got 999 health, and the tiger allows 2. So go away, tiger. Please go away. Apparently that said clear, or over. I'm not sure what it said. Can I quit this yet? Have you seen enough of this? Because I have seen far more than I ever want to see of this game. You know, you can move up and down, but it doesn't really matter. I just feel like I'm missing buttons. I feel like this is meant to be a 6-button game with like low attacks, and I've only got the upper attacks. But ha ha ha! Shoot. Apparently it's 3 buttons. See, cheats are fun. Bye. This game is stupidly broken lo-fi kills. This is just a terrible game. But we've got Mr. America now. Shall we kill him too with a cheat? I like cheats. See, I'm tempted to just cheat my way to the end now. He fainted just by looking at me. I just have the death stare. Anybody who steps in the ring with me dies. Unfortunately, it doesn't mix these images up. So it's got a different quote though each time. Aim at champion by defeating Tiger. So it's just Tiger again. I can select a power up to punch or kick. Have I got a kick attack? I don't even know. It's not a fun game. The remaining fighter is only Tony 1, the boss of Black Willow. Come on. Okay, Tony 1 versus Lucky Joe. Bye, Tony. I am perfect. You see, cheats can make a bad game satisfying. Incredibly satisfying. I want to see if there's an end sequence. Anyway, I'm sure there's a service mode that says there's only 3 buttons somewhere. You're telling me there's more to this? Come on, just let it be over. I thought the only fighter left was Tony 1. Apparently not. Apparently we have a final... No, I don't remember you. Oh, you're my younger brother. Okay. You were never born. I have no younger brother. What, you need me back again? I still have no younger brother. Doesn't exist. Not even my own family know Alpha. I will death stare a lot of them and kill you. That better be all. Oh yeah. I won all fight and obtained not only money but peace, but also glory. At the same time, I defeated my younger brother and knew cruelty and vanity of violence. Apparently. I just need a death stare. I didn't cheat. Oh no, not even once, Aussie guy. This game has no glory. I'm not afraid of losing it. What music is this? Okay, apparently it's got credits. People actually want to be credited to this. You know what? I don't care. So. Let's have a look at an even worse game. Black Touch 96. A Korean game from 1996 by D.G.R.M, where the most significant thing about this is that it had a PIC microcontroller that needed an expensive decapping process to get dumped, just to give it sound. Also, it's kind of a clone of the SNK Prisoner of War hardware, which is like a precursor to the Neo Geo. Both designed by ADK. But this has 256 colour tiles. Cookie and Bibis. I was tempted to play that on the previous stream actually because we were looking at Puzzle Wobble, so I might play that in a bit, like you. In fact, I might play that after this one. It's quite expensive, Jeff. I mean, it's not something I do, but it requires expensive acids, high-risk job, sometimes, you know, commercial-grade microscopes. It's not a cheap process, and the materials are hard to gather and restricted in many areas. So you have to, you know, make use of the people who can obtain them. So here we go. Now this game is full of bugs. The timer doesn't work for one. You'll notice the timer never decreases. There is no code in the game to decrease the timer, so it just looks like it's an unfinished game, quite frankly. Your jump is always straight up. Enemies sometimes move into the background scenery. Yeah, this is an original Korean game, and it's bad. It's not the only Black Touch game in MAME, but the other games with the Black Touch name, which is apparently some Korean comic book or something like that, are tile matching games. One is a hack of Shanghai 2, the other is a hack of Dragon Punch, sports match. But this one is actually an original game. It's bad, but it's an original game. Yeah, this is a bad game. This is a really bad game. You owned a Cookie and Bibis. You see, I really like SemiCom games, so you know I have a soft spot for Cookie and Bibis. I'd really like to see the SemiCom R&B game done, which is like I think a Hyperstone version of Cookie and Bibis, but so far we've not seen one. It might also be the 68020 version. There we go, enemy in the background, because you know that's what happened in this game. A barrel that is leaking blood, because, you know, why not? Probably wine, but I'm going to say blood, because I don't think anybody would play this anyway. It's a bad game. So I think it's one of the few games where adding the sound emulation, I think, made it worse. Again, enemies walking into the background because the whole game is just broken. This is called Black Touch 96 DJ Dance Classic. It's in the bottom left corner of the stream. You get to play Cookie and Bibi as a reward. So Cookie and Bibi is a fairly reasonable implementation of Puzzle Bobble. I'll have a look at it shortly. After I've completed a level of this nonsense. But as you can see, the music loop is just a short, like 5-second loop, like many of these Korean bootleg quality hardware games. And while this is an original game, the hardware is, you know, bootleg quality. The sound system is just a pick driving OKI. You've got another new sample loop because it's a boss, I guess. Come on, where are you, boss guy? There's the boss guy. Big boxer guy. Yeah, the music's probably stolen too, because most Korean games were. Hey look, I can just hammer the punch button. I can just slice now. Hello. I don't think this is an effective strategy, but you know. Oh, there we go. Did it with one hand. Hey, Christian. Oh, we get a sexy girl between levels, and yeah, I think at the end we get naked girls, but we're not going to play it that long. I think we've played enough Black Touch 96 to be quite honest. Where did I say we were going next? Yeah, it's as finished as a Korean game got. What did I say I was going to play? Cookie and Bibi, wasn't it? Cookie and Bibi. The first one. So we started these streams yesterday with Puzzle Bobble, Bubble Buster. Let's have a look at a Korean knockoff of Puzzle Bobble, which is one from SemiCom. And I say I have a soft spot for SemiCom. I really like the games actually. But yeah, Cookie and Bibi, or Cookie and Bibi's. This is one of those where I had to extract the protection data, and eventually the MCU was dumped. I think it runs, yeah, no, this one still runs with a simulation actually. The MCU is not emulated on this one. The chip has not been decapped. I think it has on the later ones. But this one still runs with a simulation, but all the MCU does is put code in RAM anyway. So yeah, this is Puzzle Bobble with a food theme basically. And you know, as knockoff implementations of Puzzle Bobble go, this one is perfectly fine. It's not perfect, but it's playable. It gets the basics right. It doesn't spawn items that aren't in the playfield or anything like that. So it's fair. You can complete it. It's not entirely polished. But, I mean, you have to temper your expectations when it comes to any of these Korean games. This is family friendly, yes, Bob. Yes, SemiCom used this music in quite a few games. I think they had 1 or 2 tunes they like to be used, but it does work here. And it's a proper, you know, YM tune as well. It's not just a loop sample, which again does make the SemiCom stuff stand apart from some of the others. Unfortunately, it's a little bit harder to aim than a proper Puzzle Bobble game, which is a shame. Unfortunately, this is not going to go well for me, is it? Yeah, there were quite a few knockoffs of Puzzle Bobble. There's a Puzzle Bobble knockoff in MAME on the CD32 hardware, but it's an adult game with naughty background pictures, so that's not family friendly and I can't play it. The aiming arrow's not always perfect either, unfortunately. This is sort of Puzzle Bobble with a little bit of a lack of polish. I think despite the lower resolution, SemiCom did do a better job with the sequels of this, which were on Snow Brothers sort of clone hardware. This is basically a rip-off of Tumble Pop hardware with its own sound system and less features. I don't think it supports row scroll, but the basic design is Tumble Pop style memory map. But yeah, it's cutesy. It does the job. I think I prefer this over, say, the versions of Puzzle Bobble Buster Move, where Taito had taken away the entire theming. This at least has the two cute squirrels and cheerful music. And, you know, the food theme kind of works for this type of game. Obviously, it's just not as famous as Puzzle Bobble, which was everywhere, so when you're cloning a game that's already everywhere, you have to wonder what the target market was. There were lots of them Extreme Wreck. I mean, there were various ones in those touchscreen games as well. You saw everywhere, the arcade ones. It was a popular thing to copy. And I have just thought of another game I want to cover before the stream is over, so we probably won't spend too long on this one. You can see what it is. It's Cookie and Bibi. It's a Puzzle Bobble knockoff. Yeah, the Cubo 32. CD32 version of Hired Guns. Is there any differences, Mo? Because Hired Guns was a good game. I really liked the whole split screen thing they did. So it's more of a puzzle game than anything else, so it gets misunderstood. But Hired Guns, yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Fruit Salad. I had a game called Fruit Salad on the Amiga that was a PD game that was more of a platform game. I don't remember one that was like Puzzle Bobble. The fruit pictures are reef. I guess Fruit Salad was probably just a popular name for a game there, but there was a PD game called Fruit Salad 2, I'm sure. Not good. No, I don't really know. No. No, it probably is a different developer. It's probably just a similar name. The same name. And me. Now, interesting thing about the Cookie and Bibi series is that the third game, Cookie and Bibi 3, the free play mode is broken, so it just corrupts the game. But we're not going to look at Cookie and Bibi 3 right now. We're probably going to look at another thing that I believe Guru done back in the day, but I had no original reference for a long time. So I did not know until about 3 weeks ago that there were missing graphics in it. This is Data East's Chanbara. Also, the music in this plays too fast, but the clocks are measured and correct, so apparently measured and correct at least. So I don't know why the music plays too quickly, because I haven't even rewrote the whole YM code recently. And the music still plays too quickly, so I don't know if the clocks were measured incorrectly or if there's something else going on, but whatever. This is Chanbara, which feels like a rather buggy game. In fact, It's dual stick. It would not surprise me if this was a prototype because it really is a complete mess. Well, you know, you kill the enemies, but if you don't kill the enemies, you see they corrupt. You see corrupted enemies sometimes. Now, before those enemies did not appear in the background when they were behind the walls, because that I thought that was sprite enable, not priority. So that's the new feature that now works that didn't work before. But yeah, if you ignore the enemies at the top and just scroll past them without them killing you, they will reappear as corrupt graphics on the other side, although it's easier said than done. Ryan is doing more N64, but we'll see what happens with that, Bob. That needs optimizations, I think, but optimizing something like the N64 is difficult because it needs basically perfect CPU sync. There's a video we found on Nico Video. I'd be interesting to see if the music on your PCB plays at the same speed as MAME, or if it's too fast in MAME. Because, I mean, I can't rule out there being different hardware game revisions. Also, yeah, it's easy to do with cheats on, but if you scroll past some of the enemies, I mean, I think, are the cheats going to work? I'm going to turn cheats on briefly, because you can do it without cheats, but it's much more difficult. But if I turn invincibility on, so if I keep walking, you know, if I'm forcing past these, see, they appear briefly as corrupt graphics. You see. So, again, you see corrupt graphics. And if you don't kill the enemies at the top, that will happen. There you go, corrupt graphics going across the top. Now, I think that's just a game bug. It's hard to trigger without cheats on, but with cheats on, you can trigger it all the time. You can just make these corrupt graphics go across the top. If you score the enemy there off the top, they will reappear as bad sprites. Sometimes, not all the time, just sometimes. Anyway, I've got the cheats on now. But yeah, there are a lot of weird graphical issues that we have seen in original hardware videos of this game. Priority issues, you know. This is why I thought what was priority was sprite disable for a long time, because it creates some odd graphics that look like they shouldn't be there, but are. But yeah, this is sort of a strategic platform striker fighter. So you press both. It's dual joystick. You press both up and down to go up and down platforms. Otherwise, it's a sword fighter. You've got to timing moves, and it's a bit messy. Again, this enemy seems to have got out of place. It's easy to trigger up the cheats on, but you can trigger it without cheats. So they look like they're floating, but again, we've seen that on original hardware videos. If you attack them in certain positions, they kind of float. It feels like a half-finished game. So I'm wondering if Data East just sort of put this out in not quite complete state, or if the board that was dumped is a prototype version and the common, you know, I don't know. Data East quality control wasn't always there. Yeah, I am cheating, so you're missing half the challenges of the game here. I just wanted to demonstrate the bug that you can get by, you know, scrolling past the enemies. Which again, if I speed up, you'll see again. So I'm just trying to speed past to. Yeah, I'm not doing a very good job of demonstrating it, but you've seen it a few times in the video. The problem is demonstrating it without cheat. There, the corrupt character going past there. Again, that's because I scrolled them off. But yeah, I was just surprised that until, you know, a few weeks ago, nobody even mentioned to me that there were missing sprites in this. Because I said, just treated the sprite priority as an enable bit instead of sprite priority. But anyway, we are now over 2 hours on the stream, so I'll be quitting this one soon and playing something else. No, ending the stream even? Yeah, ending the stream, not playing something else. I'm so tired I'm saying playing something else when I'm ending the stream. Never mind. But yeah, the priorities of the sprites and the actual sprites are okay now. It's just you get those glitch sprites from time to time if you scroll them off. And I think that is just how the game works. The music is apparently too fast. I don't know. So yeah, verification of a few things might help, but verifying the sprite issue would require being able to play the game and score the enemies off, which is kind of tricky. Anyway, that is Chanbara by Data East. I think it has potential to be enjoyable. I mean, if you talk about games with sword fighting, a lot of people don't like the original Assassin's Creed because, you know, you have to be calculated with the sword fighting, whereas on the later games it's kind of more button mashy. And I kind of like it. I think that game is going for the similar thing where you have to calculate your sword movements and block and defend and everything else. I think once you know how to play it, you can kind of cheese it. So the Japanese video we've seen of the game where they complete all the levels makes it look easy, but it's all right. I mean, it's not Data East's best game. It's not one I go back and play, but it is one that a bug came up recently with the sprites, and yeah, Sega, it'd probably be impossible. Somebody would have to implement the cheat as a ROM patch. I may get around to that, but I don't know. Lots of things need testing on hardware. This is why it's always important to still have the PCBs around, because there's so many things that come up after, 10, 20 years. Nobody reported a bug in that until, 3 months ago, and it was 3 weeks ago, and it was been in MAME for close to 20 years. So it's a bit like meat cutting, Aussie guy. Well, that's another way of looking at it. But anyway, I think that's all the games for today, because I did do 45 minutes yesterday in the stream that got cut short, and I do try and make these things 3 hours, so 45 minutes plus 2 hours 15 minutes is 3 hours. So I think you've had your stream, and I'm getting kind of tired. I don't know when the next one is. I do have time tomorrow, so I may do another stream tomorrow, but it will probably be another miscellaneous games because I've not prepared much for this month. The alternate titles theme is a little bit out the window. Anyway, thank you for everybody for being here. So, it's been a good chat with everybody. Nice and busy as usual. And, thank you for not giving up on me after the disaster of yesterday, which didn't quite work. Headphones, I'm using just Sennheiser HD 210 ones. They're really cheap ones. These are ones I got for about 10 quid about 10 years ago, some ages ago. Yeah, Sennheiser ones. Cheap Sennheisers, but they're still good headphones. They work for what I need. But yes, I will see you next time, and thank you for all joining in, and take care, and I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day, evening, or whatever time it is there. Just have a good time, and I will see you soon.